How's it going, Rogues Gallery, and welcome to another Flesh and Blood video here on Red Zone Rogue. So, today, well, some cards got banned, and some other crazy stuff happened, and that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the banning of the Queen, and we're going to talk about... I have so much to say about this. I'm actually of two minds. There's a lot to say. I agree with most of it, but some of the stuff, I don't want to say it rubs me the wrong way, but let's just get started. This banned and restricted announcement kind of came out of nowhere. I was just sitting there enjoying my brand new PS5 playing Demon's Souls, one of my favorite games of all time in its remastered form, just having a great time. And then I pull out my phone and I check, just to check it out, and I'm see a tweet from good friend Tannen Grace, and he's like, "Yo, some stuff went down," and I checked it out and I was like, "What? A ban? Like now?" This is so out of left field. I would not have expected this at all. I figured they would have saved the bans at least until after Everfest, or at least until after the Everfest meta had settled, which tells me one very important thing. Before we even talk about the bans at all, the fact that this banned and restricted announcement happened now, before Everfest, tells me that there's nothing in Everfest to combat these cards, right? Because if there was something in Everfest to fight against the cards that got banned today, then they wouldn't have banned them. So that tells me a little bit about what's in Everfest and what's not in Everfest. And what's not in Everfest are things to combat Briar and these Cheerios style cards. And then also Duskblade randomly just finally got the full axe. I don't know, we're gonna talk about that. I'm not too surprised about the Duskblade thing. Let's talk about the Duskblade thing first, right? Before we get into the real juicy stuff, Duskblade got banned in Blitz. It had already been banned in Classic Constructed, and guess what? Duskblade is just not fun. It warps formats. You're either playing Duskblade or you're not playing Duskblade, and that's a big deal if you're not playing Duskblade, because if your opponent is playing Duskblade, then it's a different game, right? It's a completely different game. How high can they build the Duskblade before it eventually kills you, basically? So I'm not surprised in that. Still legal in Ultimate Pit Fight, which is kind of fun, actually. So if you're playing Duskblade in Ultimate Pit Fight, don't be surprised if the people on the sides just gang up and kill you because you're playing with Duskblade. What are you doing? What are you doing? So, so yeah, that's Duskblade. So let's talk about the thing that, I don't want to say irks me, but I'm just fundamentally opposed to these. But I understand why they did it, and I think they did it for a good reason, and James White's reasoning, it makes sense to me, and I understand why he did it, and I think he did it not very, how do I put this, not gleefully, right? I don't think he enjoyed doing this. In fact, I don't think they enjoy banning any of these cards, but I think this one in particular, basically what I'm talking about is Briar got errated, like a functional errata, and if you know me, which this is something I might have talked about in previous videos. I don't remember, honestly. I know I rant about this sometimes. I'm a huge... I hate functional erratas in physical card games. They are the supreme feel bad. If you are playing against a new player or an opponent who doesn't know that the card has been errated, then you telling them that it's errated on their physical card, that their physical card doesn't do what it says it does, is such a feel bad, and it makes you look kind of like a cheater, because you're like, oh yeah, that card doesn't do that, it does this instead. And they're like, yeah, cool story, bro. Like, it's just a huge feel bad for everyone involved. So I'm very much opposed, I very much oppose functional erratas. I kind of hate them in physical card games. I think they're one of the worst things you can do, but I get why they did it in this situation, because James White, in the article, and I highly recommend going and reading the article, but I'm going to kind of summarize it here. I'm going to pull up my phone and we're going to go through it a little bit too. But he basically said that they don't want to do this very often, and that it would be very rare that they do functional erratas, and that the only reason they're doing it is because it is on a hero card, and the errata should have already been up on the screen while I'm talking about this. Let's just go over really quick what it is if you didn't read it already. So basically, let's see if I can remember this off the top of my head. It's changing Briar's ability to make embodiment of Earth tokens. So instead of making them for every time an attack hits on your turn, then it's just the first time. So you only ever get one embodiment of Earth token, which is fine, right? I mean, they could have made it so it only procced off of Earth cards, which would have been interesting. This is also fine. I think they're both, you know, fine. It's just kind of a feels bad kind of thing. They said they will have updated versions of the cards, which is great. I have no idea how they're going to distribute those cards. I have no idea how they're going to distribute those cards. Maybe at LGS's, maybe a redemption thing. I have no idea how they're going to do that. And this errata is in effect right now. Like literally right now, unless you are going to the upcoming Australia and New Zealand events, and I'll pull out my phone and I'll talk a little bit more about that. It's functional like right now in all of your, you know, armory events and all that kind of stuff. In both classic constructed, limited, just all across the board, Briar is now errated to that effect, regardless of the format, which also includes Ultimate Pit Fight, because Briar's just that now. All of these bans and restricted changes will not affect the two upcoming nationals, like I said, Australia and New Zealand. But the side events at those nationals will be affected, which is, I guess that makes sense. Anyway, so yeah, there's that. Long story short, even though I just gave you the long story, I do not like functional errata like at all. I understand why they did this. I don't know if it's the right move. It probably is the right move. I have a lot of faith in Legend Story Studios. James White's a really smart dude. He's played a lot of card games. I know he's broken other games, you know, himself. He knows how to fix things. So I got my fingers crossed that they're doing this and it's going to be good. Like, it's going to be worth it, because it's just going to be super annoying. Like, it's just such a feel bad. Like teaching someone how to play, like, oh yeah, don't play Briar, she's weird and has errata. What it says on the card doesn't do what it says, like that kind of stuff. Even though they will have, you know, changed ones. Now there's going to be two versions of Briar and they'll have different effects. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that. But like I said, I understand why they did it, and hopefully it is best for the overall metagame. It must be future-proofing, because all of the other cards that got banned, for the most part, except for Duskblade, they all have to do with Briar. Briar got like triple slapped, man. She got triple slapped. She 3 cards basically, or well, not 3 cards. The equivalent of 18 cards, I guess. 2 cards basically got banned. Not all of them in not all of them in both Blitz and Classic Constructed, which is very interesting. But Briar got like triple slapped because she got errated and these 2 cards got banned. So let's talk about the cards that got banned. And I'm gonna pull out my phone to make sure I get which ones got banned in what format, because both Plunder Run and Ball Lightning got banned. I could see Plunder Run. This is another thing, man. I don't know if they both should have gotten banned. Maybe one of them, but both of them, and not even restricted, just straight up banned. It's probably for the best. It's probably for the best, but Plunder Run affects a lot of decks. Like banning Plunder Run, it affects Briar, right? It also affects Chain, who's still really good, but it also affects literally every other Go Wide deck ever. So like Rangers and Ninjas and I don't know, some weird Mechanologist builds. I don't know. Anything that goes wide, Plunder Run is gonna hurt. Which is kind of a bummer. It's just a great card in general, and it's played in just a ton of decks. So maybe this is another future-proofing thing, but anyway, I digress. Okay, let's talk about which ones are which. So Ball Lightning and Plunder Run are both banned in Classic Constructed. In Blitz, only Ball Lightning is banned, and then also Duskblade. So Plunder Run is still usable in Blitz and Ultimate Pit Fight, and then Ball Lightning is also still usable in Ultimate Pit Fight. Ultimate Pit Fight's gonna shape up to be this format where you can play with all these degenerate cards, right? You can play with your Seeds of Agonies and your Plunder Runs and your Ball Lightnings and all this crap, which is gonna be very interesting, actually. You can build all these really broken, powerful decks in Ultimate Pit Fight. Yo, you guys should play Ultimate Pit Fight. It's really fun. But yeah, so the Australian and New Zealand national champs and LCQs. So both of those, all of those are exempt from these bans. So if you're testing for that, then your testing is still relevant. You don't have to backtrack or, you know, retest or anything like that, which is exactly why they did this, right? So let's talk about Plunder Run, right? So Plunder Run, I think I already just basically said it. I can see why they did it. It's very powerful. It's using a lot of different decks. It's very busted in Briar in particular. And I mean, Chain also uses it as well. I don't know, man, Briar got clapped so hard. So she got errated, and then both of these cards got banned. I think she'd still be okay, you know how Chain, everyone thought Chain was down and out, like, yeah, Chain sucks now that he got banned out. Chain was still really good, like really, really good. So I think Briar will probably still be pretty good as well. It's just a bummer that it hits some other go wide heroes. Maybe those heroes are going to be getting some support in Everfest, but I mean, maybe that's it, right? Maybe Everfest just has a whole bunch of go wide stuff, and these cards existing would be too much, right? So then there's also Ball Lightning. Ball Lightning is kind of an annoying card in a lot of ways. It's just annoying to do the math for because you have to add up all the little numbers. It's a really powerful card. The only drawback is that it didn't block, and the decks that play it don't care about blocking anyway. So I can see why Ball Lightning got banned. It's very surprising to me. I would never have called that Ball Lightning got banned. Plunder Run I could see, right? I could see the Briar change. I can see Duskblade. I can see Plunder Run, but Ball Lightning, it's good, but it feels really, really out of left field for me at least. Yeah, I mean, like, it's a weird card, and it's a card that allowed you to do stuff that no other card allowed you to do, right? It let you pop, like in Limited, let you pop your like Mark of Lightning for 2 damage instead of 1. It's an interesting thing. You know what? I will say, no matter how I feel about these changes, it's definitely going to change the metagame, like 100%. And then we also have Everfest coming out too. So it's not going to be a solved format going into Everfest. It means Everfest is going to be super, super exciting, like even more exciting, because it's going to be an unsolved format, right? Going into Everfest, bringing in a ton more cards. So I guess it's just kind of like starting fresh. It's starting fresh even more, right? So it's gonna be really fun to like deck build and brew. But if you're the kind of player who's just like, I only want to play my one deck, well, if that deck is Briar, you're gonna be making some changes. I'm really curious as to what your thoughts are on all of these bans and the errata in the comments down below. Like I said, it's hard to put it into words. I get it. I kind of just wish they would wait for Everfest, but like I said at the top of the show, that it really tells me that the fact that they didn't wait for Everfest tells me that Everfest won't have anything to combat these cards, which is why they're getting banned. So I guess that's why they didn't wait for Everfest. They're probably like, holy crap, nothing in Everfest is gonna combat these. And you know what, at the end of the day, I just want a healthy metagame, and I want people to just have fun playing the game. And if Briar's so oppressive and unfun to play against, I think they said it was like 63% of the field or something like that, then, you know, making these changes, even though I don't like the physical erratas, the functional erratas on physical cards, I mean, if it's going to change the game and it's going to make it more fun for people, I'm all for that. So at the end of the day, that's what I care about, right? And none of these cards were like expensive cards, right? Unless you bought like foil alpha or foil first edition Plunder Runs, I guess. But aside from that, they're all like pretty cheap cards, so you're not really out of money. And I think Briar will still be pretty good. You're gonna have to change, but much like Chain, I think Briar will still be pretty good. Rune Blades, they tend to be pretty good. So that's the discussion for today. This is crazy. It's actually kind of crazy. Banning the queen. The king Runeblade has been banned. Now the queen Runeblade has been banned. Where will the prince Runeblade lie? That's Viscera, by the way. Anyway, thank you so much. If you watched this far, I don't know, man. Just say something weird in the comment section. Thank you for watching. We got some more Flesh and Blood content coming in the following weeks. Really, really excited for Everfest, I'm maybe even more excited now because the format is boom, bursted wide open. So let's see what really cool decks can come out of this, this new frontier. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.